Former President Donald Trump appeared on Fox News with Laura Ingraham. He was questioned on past comments that he made about Christian voters not having to vote again in 4 years.
They're also attacking you for other ridiculous reasons. They're saying that you said to a crowd of Christians that they won't have to vote in the future.
Yeah, let me say what did I mean by that. I had a tremendous crowd speaking to Christians. I mean, this was a crowd that liked me a lot. I think I'm at 97% or something. And they're treated very badly by this administration, okay? Catholics are treated unbelievably. They're like persecuted. And if I might say, before I go into the other, Jewish people, if you're Jewish and you vote for Biden or the Democrats or Kamala or whoever's going to run, I guess it's going to be her. But if you voted for her or the Democrats, you should have your head examined.
He was also asked about debating Kamala Harris.
I want to do a debate, but I also can say this. Everybody knows who I am, and now people know who she is. She's a radical left lunatic. She'll destroy our country. She wants open borders.
And why not debate her?
Well, wait. But because they already know everything.
Trump was also asked to go to bat for his running mate, JD Vance.
What can you say to our viewers tonight to reassure them that this was an excellent pick?
Well, first of all, he's got tremendous support. And he really does among a certain group of people that like families. I mean, he made a statement having to do with families. That doesn't mean that people that aren't a member of a big and beautiful family with 400 children around and everything else, it doesn't mean that a person he's not against anything, but he loves family. It's very important to him. He grew up in a very interesting family situation, and he feels family is good. And I don't think there's anything wrong in saying that.
There was a lot there, Robbie. I think that Trump answering these questions, he dances around like the real issue that they're trying to get at. On the JD Vance thing, it's very obvious that JD Vance is not doing so well among people who don't have families, making comments like about childless cat ladies and making comments about abortion. It's really, I think, hurting the Trump campaign in a way that they might not be able to recover from.
Is it? I don't know that the criticism on social media from liberal, progressive, left people who hated Trump already and hated JD Vance already is representative of anything. I mean, yes, there are a lot of people who disagree with JD Vance and who are going to be voting for Kamala Harris and would have been voting for Joe Biden and don't agree with his agenda. And I don't know that his remarks have really changed that all that much. As I've said when we talked about this previously, he agrees that that was a sarcastic remark to hone in on childless cat ladies. And as Trump kind of tried to soft pedal that to say, like, well, we're not trying to demonize people who don't have families or people who like cats or any part of the electorate. It's just important to JD Vance that people are able to have big families if they want. And the thrust of that is the new national conservative economic populism that he is a thought leader of, seeks to reorient and realign public policy to make it easier for people to have families. Ideas along this lines are like the child tax credit, which is something that even some progressives like, making it more economically incentivizing people to be able to have more children, because the cost of childcare has gotten way out of whack. The cost of schooling, the cost of buying a bigger and a bigger house so you can have room for all your kids, depending on where you live in the country, is difficult. So it's not meant to be insulting to people who don't have kids. I don't have kids. I'm not trying to insult myself, and I don't even agree with some of these policy ideas. But that is the agenda of the new right, is to create a kind of economic populism that makes it easier to have large families.
But I don't know how raising taxes on people who don't have kids.
No, we're not going to raise taxes on people who don't have kids.
Well, that's something that the right has entertained. That people who don't
the
have
right doesn't
kids
want to
will
raise
pay
taxes
higher
on anyone.
So, I think that would be very unpopular. I think that Trump's policy to cut taxes by a greater margin on corporations, but have tax cuts expire for middle and working class people, the tax cuts he pushed will expire in December of 2025, why he made corporate tax cuts permanent, but tax cuts for families temporary, I think speaks to the reality that he doesn't actually care about families in the way that he says this campaign does. And talking about the Christians, saying that Catholics are persecuted in the United States, I don't know what he is talking about with that, Robby. I honestly don't. And him telling Christians they'll never have to vote again, I don't understand what he means by that, even after hearing him answer for it.
I mean, we should ask our Fridays host, Amber,
I think
more
Amber would
about
have a
this.
lot to say
I
about
think
this.
she would have some ideas. I suspect she might point to the arrests of, I believe they were Catholic protesters outside abortion clinics. Those kinds of things.
But Amber loves when unlawful protesters are arrested. And her and I have talked about that before at length, but yes. Is that's really it?
They were
That's the only
unlawful.
example?
They were unlawful protesters.
That's the only example? I mean, they were blocking entrance to a health clinic, which is against the law. Yeah.
So you found some protesters. You want to throw the book at them?
I'm not saying we should throw the book at protesters, but blocking access to health care?
Okay, what about graffitiing
yeah.
a statue in the city?
I mean, if they find who did it,
Yeah.
they probably would arrest them. Do I agree with that being illegal? Do I agree with people getting arrested? No, but removing people.
You
from the
don't agree with
entrance
people
of a
getting
clinic
arrested unless they're
for
outside
graffiti.
Do
I think someone needs to be
clinic.
detained in jail and await arraignment and potentially not be able to afford cash bail? I think it's a strain on the system and a much larger conversation. But I will say, if someone's blocking the entrance to a health clinic, which is illegal, they should be removed. They don't need to be jailed, but they should be removed.
Okay.
But I don't think that's persecution for being Catholic. They were removed because they were breaking the law by preventing entry into a health clinic. So I don't know what he means by Catholics being persecuted. I think what he's referring to is this feeling that because Catholics and Christians are imposing their beliefs through law, and they do say this, they say these are our values, this is our religion, we would like to make laws about it. Unfortunately, the Constitution prevents that.
All laws are imposing someone's values on someone else. They're not all religious values, but there's some values.
And we have freedom of
religion. Your value is that
Right.
corporations should pay more in taxes.
And their
So you're
beliefs.
using the law to impose that value.
But their beliefs not being popular and not being something people want to vote for doesn't mean they're persecuted. People not wanting their values imposed on them doesn't mean their religion is being persecuted just because other people don't agree with their religious values. And I think Trump, in really deciding to speak to this Christian nationalist evangelical faction of the United States and support Israel and make criticisms of Democrats, he's really made this a key focus of his campaign, calling Biden a Palestinian as some kind of slur, saying that the Democrats don't support Jewish people or Israel. We know, because we've heard from Tim Burchett and Lauren Boebert, that their support of Israel comes from a religious place of believing that end times are coming and that the Holy Land needs to be controlled and that there needs to be great war in the Middle East. And so, as one ex-user put it, I don't trust my cat's future with someone who believes we're in the end times and the end is coming and they want to usher that in.
All right, if you say so. More Rising right after this.